So this currently is Searsport, and there's a switcher in the yard. You can see a few trains set up for some work getting ready to run. Also, you can see a train getting ready to depart. Searsport is the most southern end of the CGRL railroad. As you can see there's the lead track to help set up the yard so one does not go out on the main line. Okay, after Searsport, our next stop is Brownville Junction. As you can see, the station and the station platform. We typically do 99% of the time freight, so not much activity for passengers. Also, you see the Flying Yankee that's sitting on a siding. Brownville is a two-track siding in addition to the main line. One other note for Brownville Junction is a connection from the south end of the yard that goes out to Montreal. And you can see the main central heading out. Next stop in the operating session would be Caribou. As you can see, there's a small station. The interesting thing about Caribou is that it is the only siding that you use a electromagnetic coupler on the main line to disconnect your cars and pick up your cars, as well as a fixed magnet on the siding. Next stop we have Auburn. Small station that's off the main line. See the main line more into the background where the siding comes forward. And the siding splits into two sidings where you can leave some freight. Next stop is Oakfield. Oakfield has a reasonably long passing siding as well as a track to drop off freight. Next stop is Northern Main Junction. Here we have a factory and a theater and a firehouse. In Northern Main Junction there are 2 sidings for freight drop-off and delivery. Just a note, one of the stops is also an area called Hidden Valley, which has no freight drop-off or pickup. It's more of a resting area, and it's secluded in a area that's hidden, only exposed by a small area, hence the term Hidden Valley. Okay, next stop is Presque Isle. Presque Isle is probably the largest yard on the layout. It has the main line, 2 passing sidings, and then 3 additional freight staging areas. Down on the end of Presque Isle we also have a turntable and a roundhouse. Turntable was custom built and the roundhouse was built by my dad before he passed away, and I will take the roof off shortly and show you what it looks like inside. This is the other end, a view from the other end of Presque Isle. As you can see, the turntable. In addition, you see the roundhouse with the roof off. Some detailed post and beam construction supporting the roof of the roundhouse. The engine that's behind the roundhouse is on the lead track for the Presque Isle yard. And as you can see, there's some construction work going on and some lazy hobos hanging out as well. Next up we have South LaGrange. This is a two-siding with a one track for dropping off freight. And as you can see, there's a fair amount of freight sitting in the yard, which basically ties up one of the passing sidings as well. Also in South LaGrange, there's a lot of spooky activity going on. It is Halloween, so people are getting pretty spooky. Just another angle of South LaGrange. So next stop is Holton, which is again a very good size passing siding and then an area to drop off freight. You can also see in Holton a newly acquired Shay. Maybe not prototypical, but sure looks cool. Next stop is Bangor. Bangor is a siding that is split off into two separate industries. You can drop off freight. Also going on in Bangor is a World's Fair circus. A lot of activity going on in Bangor. Must be doing some welding inside that factory. Next stop is Millinocket. Millinocket has 2 passing sidings and a place to drop off freight. And it has a real good long passing siding. Which extends past that road, as you can see in the fog background. As you can see, it's a good sized passing siding. Next stop is Fort Kent. Very small drop-off siding. As you can see, there's a fair amount of farming, livestock activity going on around that area. That's Fort Kent. And the final stop is Van Buren, which is the northern end of the layout. This layout was designed for 2 functions, one for an operating session and one to do continuous runs. So it is a full loop layout, and Searsport and Van Buren, actually both north and south ends of the layout, physically share the same yard. So we've pretty much done the layout from an operating point of view. I just want to capture some scenes of the layout, kind of pan you through the room. You can see there's a fair amount of plane and balloon activity. And last, I'd like to share with you a technique I kind of use on my layout to help operators identify turnouts. So what I have installed is two LEDs, one red, one green, and they're in series with a tortoise switch motor for power, so one's always lit. And as you can see on the lower side, there's a toggle switch and a push button. When you push the push button, it shuts off the light to identify which turnout is going to be controlled by the toggle. When you flip the toggle, you'll see the LEDs change state and the turnout turn. These are all hand-built closed frog switches, 55 of them on the layout. And again, they're power routed through a tortoise switch motor.